Do you feel like your culture supported you growing up?
I didn't grow up with any Colombians my whole life, so I had nothing to support me because they were never around.
In my career, no, because everybody around me was like, don't forget where you come from. Exactly, I know where I come from. I don't want to be here trapped. I'm trying to leave.
Going to school up there was really hard for me. I know girls would say such mean things about the culture and say you look like a maid, gardeners are annoying. I felt a sense of, whoa, shame in a sense.
I didn't feel like I was always accepted by Latinas. I feel like Latina women were kind of mean to me growing up, so I was like, fuck y'all bitches.
We're back. What is new, you guys?
Girl, just out here living, trying to survive. I feel like this year is going by like this.
But okay, speaking of the seasons, y'all already know I'm a big on astrology, and we are in Scorpio season.
Scorpio, I feel it.
It feels right. It feels intense.
Felt it.
Okay, but what do you guys feel? Because like when people talk about the moon cycles and stuff, they're like, I'm feeling it right now, and I don't know if I correlate the two.
You didn't feel the full moon 2 days ago?
You didn't feel it last week. The lunar eclipse, I felt it.
We were in between eclipses, and yesterday, Monday, was the beginning of Scorpio, which is more like an intense season. Like, we're just getting real.
Rebirth.
Like, we're not.
I feel
all
that.
the fluff
Death.
is going away. We're focusing. We're like focusing what's important. Like even with work, I feel like we're like okay compared to the last.
But
few weeks.
Is it just me and this is from somebody that doesn't really follow astrology or like moon patterns or all that stuff? Do you feel like that? I don't know. For some reason, I always feel like everybody's going through it, and it's always because of the moon. Like I've never heard something positive. Like this is a good time. It's always like in retrograde. It's always like something.
Saturn, Jupiter, one of them. Look, I don't have the facts, but one of them is coming out of retrograde. It's gonna be a good time for luck. Like there's also luck. Like Jupiter is a planet of luck.
Retrograde. When Mercury's in retrograde is when all the like. What is it called? Technology things like break. You shouldn't buy anything new. But I think that the moon really helps to filter out things in order to start fresh in the next cycle of whatever it is.
I like to use astrology. Like I'm really deep into the weeds of astrology because it's easy for me to judge people. But I like to use it for like whatever that sign symbolizes. I'm like, that's what I should be focused on this season.
So what does this sign symbolize?
This Scorpio, even though I hate them, we'll get into that in a little bit. Scorpio is really the sign of rebirth and like. Really, like, it's like the phoenix. It's like you die and you're born again.
Okay,
really?
rise from the ashes.
Yeah, you rise from the ashes. That's what a Scorpio is.
Okay, I feel like I'm doing that right now. I've been going through.
Do tell.
Tell us what you're going through.
Just like, okay, first off, I'm about to be 30 in like 2 months.
Oh no.
2 months. What?
Oh no, call the cops.
Wait, okay, call the hospital. Don't tell me when you guys were 29, you guys weren't kind of feeling a little bit.
Look, I'm
I was
freaking
excited.
out.
Going into a new decade.
I'm freaking out about becoming 35, so I get it. I'm like looking at you.
So what do you feel is gonna change from 29 to 30 to you?
It's a new decade, and I feel pressure because I feel like, and it's true, we talk about this all the time. I feel like, okay, I don't have a house yet. Like I don't have these things, and all my friends around me.
So neither do I, and we're 33, so you're fine.
No, I know, but it's hard. You definitely. I try to remind myself of that, but you get in your feelings. You're like, why am I like 30 and like all these already 20-something-year-olds already have all these things that maybe I haven't achieved that yet.
So they're lying.
The internet lies.
They're lying on TikTok.
The
They're lying. But honestly, I think we were talking off camera about how 30 is such a transformative year. Like in my 20s, I felt like I did a lot of things that I was like, I was supposed to do this because society wanted me to do this. And in my 30s, I'm like, no, these are my own decisions. So I was like, I feel like you get a lot of like, I don't give a fuck energy in your 30s.
I think, yeah, for sure. I'm trying not to rush into things just because I feel rushed. Because then you end up settling or you end up in a lifelong commitment or something like that maybe you don't want to get into.
And that is what Scorpio season is about. It's like, do you want to be committed? Because one thing about Scorpios, they don't commit.
I feel that.
Have you ever dated a Scorpio? Oh,
no.
You've never dated us? Okay, so is that why?
Geminis.
Is that
we never got far enough.
I'm traumatized.
I'm traumatized by Gemini men.
Okay, I will say that Gemini.
More the Scorpio men that we know.
Okay, I just want to say before we get into that, out of the signs you shouldn't date, Scorpio and Gemini, they're right next to each other.
Really?
And those are the only signs I've ever dated. Like my first love was a Scorpio, and then my second love was a Scorpio. So I'm just traumatized.
Okay, so you really don't like Scorpio.
I just can't. Scorpio men they're like I don't know why they're on the planet. Like, what are they here to? I'm not even trying to be mean.
What about Miguel or Drake?
Okay, so we're gonna get like they all have the same type of traits. Like Miguel, like, do you even know anything about his life? We don't know anything about his
He
life.
just won an award, an icon award at the.
No, I meant his personal life.
Yeah, he's from San Pedro. He's half black, half Mexican.
But I mean, like, his personal life. Like, do we know any of his
He just got
interests?
divorced.
Again for the 10th time with the same girl. That's some Scorpio
That's
shit.
commitment, though.
Yeah, that's commitment issues.
No, that's what Scorpios do. They come back 15 years later to be like, oh, my bad, I loved you. You could have just told me that when we were first dating. Okay. Joaquin Phoenix, I don't know much about his life, but these are some serious
He's an
men.
incredible
One
actor.
thing I'll give Scorpio men, they win awards. Drake, he has mad awards.
Drake wins awards. They all win awards.
They win awards. They take their career really seriously.
Yes.
Their love life, not so much.
I agree on that.
Yeah, it's just,
I agree on that.
I'm like, just don't ever date you see how happy you ladies are?
Yeah.
Don't date a Scorpio man. Or else you become a comedian like me.
I feel like every sign has their thing, because.
But Scorpios are the worst.
Okay, I'll take your word for it, girl.
Yeah, it's fine. So we're gonna move into another topic that I think is interesting. I actually didn't know this about Becky G. I was like, at first, I really liked her song "In the Shower," singing in the shower. La da lee da da. It was I used to listen to that song all the time in the shower, like dead ass. And I always wondered why, right, got to throw the New York in there. I always wondered, like, why she went so deep into the Spanish. Like, I think it was a point in her career where she decided to go there was, like, before everyone started blowing up, like, Karol G and Bad Bunny, she went really hard into the Spanish language. And she was a little, like, for me, I felt like provocative. I was like, wow, like, she's doing, there was a song, A mí me gustan mayores.
Yeah, that was crazy.
It's a bop, but I was like, that's kind of like, I just saw her shower, so like, I like older men and like what,
Yeah.
So what are you saying? Like, what happened in that
I
transition?
guess I wanted to know what happened, and then someone told me that actually some of that career decision happened because her brother, she has a family member that's autistic, and they said it's best for him to just speak one language in the home. So that's why she went deep into the Spanish language.
I could see that, though. I feel like back in, like, when me and Becky G were growing up, when we were growing up a lot.
Wait, you know her?
I've met her many times.
wow.
Yeah. She's really sweet.
Y'all are celebrities.
I mean, that's the truth, because I've worked in the music industry, so like I've seen her around and stuff, but I mean, I've never had a deep conversation with her. But it's true, like our generation, a lot of the times we were raised to not speak in Spanish, and that's just the truth. Like I didn't speak a lot. Like there was a point, I forget what it was, and I'm sure you guys could speak on it, but where parents wanted their children to assimilate so much in the U.S. that they were like, speak English, learn English perfectly. That's why there's like a lot of maybe Latino children that grew up and now don't speak English.
I feel like I had the opposite. Like my grandma always made sure like you need to know both languages so you can make money in 2 languages. And I have 1.5 languages. That's where I'm at.
I think in my family it was like, don't have an accent in English, so speak English as much as possible. Like you don't want to have an accent, you want to be neutral, and now I don't know what happened. I don't speak English or Spanish. I don't know what is happening. So.
No, your Spanish is fine, Ivana. You be giving us pop quiz like, let's speak Spanish at the table.
Ahora sí puedo hablar un poquito.
You can talk.
Your Spanish is fine. All right, ladies, we're moving topics.
Okay.
It's time for Glamity Hot Take.
Okay.
You know I like to spice it up. So there's a topic on the Glamity Hot Take hotline that we need to talk about. As you know, Bad Bunny, El Conejo Malo, is dating Kendall Jenner, La Candle. Someone who some say does not support the Latinx, Latina, whatever word you're using this week, community, and sorry, I just whatever, and has actually gone as far as appropriating it for her tequila brand. Have you ladies seen this video where Kendall Jenner is promoting her tequila 818 brand?
Yeah,
I've seen the commercials,
Okay.
I've seen the posts.
So what was your, because I just saw it today for the first time, what was your initial reaction to that?
I'm gonna be honest, I think a lot of people that are Mexican American are not, they're not vibing with it at all. Like if you read just like some of the comments under a lot of these posts, you see just overall anger and you're taking advantage of and all this stuff. I'm gonna just be honest, it didn't really bother me. Like she's showing imagery of Mexico. I think she's doing her best to, honestly, I don't
think there's any problem with celebrating a culture that you admire and love, especially for a
But
business.
that's the thing.
But like, listen, I will say, I moved to Mexico City. I went to the outskirts where where the volcanoes are and the pyramids are, and I fell in love with the agave plant, okay? And I did a whole tour on it, and I found out that the thread and needle come from the agave plant. Like in the middle, where there's a really big pointy thing. Back in the day, the indigenous people, the ones who used to make rugs, would cut the top off, and in that would be the needle. And in that top, there's a string, a white string. So that's where the needle and thread came from. And then they would use flowers to paint the thread different colors and make rugs that would like literally last forever. I fell in love with this.
do you see
I'm
that-
Colombian,
I hear
but I
you.
learned, I saw, and I was like, I'm gonna bring this to LA.
But
I'm
that-
gonna do, you know,
like
I'll
start your own
inspire.
business?
I think
Yeah, I just
that's
felt
a little bit
inspired.
different than someone doing something surfacey for like a commercial. Like,
But
hey,
what
I'm-
makes you say it's surfacey?
But she literally has she spent time with the Mexican community?
We don't
she
know
has
that.
houses in Cabo.
I'm gonna.
That's the problem. She's part of
Cabo.
the gentrification.
Cabo.
Like, there's so many layers of it. Like, I
Yeah.
think it's different. Like, I think our Latino culture is so beautiful, and I think that we should share it. Like, I'm now learning a little bit more about the Mexican culture, and I'm also learning about Colombian culture, right? But I think it's a difference between just going in to like to monetize something versus like a genuine appreciation of like, hey, I went and I researched, and maybe she did do the research on the tequila.
I was gonna say, like, how do we know she doesn't
She
appreciate it? I think from an outside in, we look at it and we're like, automatically assume taking advantage of, stealing.
I
How
never
do we
think
not know
like
how
that.
she really feels? I
think
haven't
that
sat down and talked to her.
I don't know much about the tequila making process, but I do know that it is kind of, from what I've learned, and like I know tequila and mezcal might be different, but I think it's like a deep process that a lot of the Mexican community benefits from. So it's like, not only are you like, it's fine that you're appreciative, but you're probably taking someone's income stream away from them. Like,
Or she's giving jobs to a lot of Mexicans.
which it could
And
be
above.
It could
And
be
of-
either or. I don't fuck with it.
Yeah.
But that's okay.
I support everyone's dreams, and if they have the ability to make it happen, like make it happen.
Yeah,
I know,
think-
but tequila is so, like, again, I'm still learning about the Mexican culture. Tequila is so important to the Mexican community, right? So it's like, I don't know all of the process of it, but I'm like, I just think it's like, it's just self-serving. Like, and she's not the only celebrity with a tequila brand. I think the guy who owns Casamigo, what's his name?
George Clooney.
George Clooney.
He did.
Yeah.
He
But
sold it.
Casamigos is a vibe. I'm not gonna lie to you.
See? What's the difference?
But
You
yeah,
have
I
the
think,
means to make
do
it happen.
think it's like when it comes to the Kardashians, people will
People
put
are
a
just
magnifying
weird.
glass
Yeah,
on it. How many celebrities have tequila brands that they go out and drink it all the time? Like a lot of the people that are like so anti-818
Eva Longoria
will go out-
has Casa del Sol.
But Eva Longoria is Mexican.
That's true.
But we'll see.
Well, we'll talk more after the break. Leave your comments in the live, and I want to know what y'all think, because maybe I need some backup, or maybe Jessica. and
No,
Ivana,
I
right?
think if you go online, plenty of people agree with
Are
you. To be
backlashing.
honest, I think a lot of people are going to be like,
But let's see what people say after the break.
Yeah, let's see.
I'm a woman, so I can draw women. I understand how a woman looks when she goes like this. I can't draw men. Men are right there. And that's really how I see men in real life. You're small, you're little, you're insignificant. You're not gonna dominate me. You're not gonna ruin my day.
All right, we're back, and we have a lot to say. There's still a lot to unpack with this Kendall Jenner and Bad Bunny conversation.
I was gonna say, it's such a heavy topic. It's so hard to just talk about it in 3 minutes. 5 minutes.
It is. But I'm gonna ask you one question that's gonna summarize all of this. Can you separate your cultural morals from the person you're dating and who is influencing you? So like your cultural like traditions and what you stand for and what your person dates. Like, can you do that? Can you separate that? Like, have you ever dated someone from a different culture?
Yeah, I only dated somebody from a different culture.
So how does that, like, I guess it seems like you guys get
I
along.
think it's cool to bring your culture to the table and like, share it. Like, there's always a recessive and a dominant culture.
Okay.
Like if my Colombian culture, my traditions, the music, the people, the food is gonna be dominant, then we're gonna work with that.
You're gonna
you
take
know what
over
I
that.
mean?
But I think
I'm
it's
happy to learn about other cultures.
But I think in Bad Bunny's situation, he was so adamant about, like, there's a lot of turmoil and historical things happening in Puerto Rico, especially with Americans taking over like a lot of their big properties and beaches.
Right.
And he made songs about it. He has his ex Gabriela
he's
in one of the
passionate about
songs. And I think a lot of people are upset because, he's so like, I think deeper than the culture, he's so politically involved in Puerto Rico that to date someone like Kendall that stands for something that's kind of completely opposite from what we see, because, we actually we don't know the girl, whatever, but she stands for something completely opposite than what he was fighting and raising awareness for. I think people are upset about that. So you think that in this situation, maybe there are some conflicts.
I just,
Or doesn't- it
can I
doesn't
be
matter?
honest? I feel
Girl,
like this is, I just feel like this is for publicity. That's just like my honest opinion.
I hope that it is.
I mean, even people that aren't in like the entertainment space, people know they get together sometimes for publicity. I mean, you've seen their interactions in like those videos that go viral. The communication barrier.
That's
like, I feel
true.
like there's a communication barrier. I'm all for dating outside your culture. Like, I'm definitely doing that recently more than I ever have before.
That's right.
And I like
Watch out,
it.
Montana and Kentucky.
Because I'm gonna.
And
Excuse me.
Minnesota and Idaho.
Damn, not even naming off the
Excuse
flower
you.
states.
Excuse you. I'm gonna kill you for that. But anyway, I feel like it's been so fun. And I've never done this before. I've always dated men or I've tried to date men in my culture just because it's easier. They can speak to my mom in Spanish.
Unspoken language. It's just like you don't have to explain things.
They just get it. They just understand. You don't have to explain. But I've actually been really enjoying
learning something new.
learning or having them learn something new, and they be kind of like, I don't know. I like it.
So we have a lot more going on right now. We're gonna be bringing in our girl San Juan. We're gonna get into Calladitas No More, where we're gonna be, it's a new segment where we're gonna be asking each other some uncomfortable questions.
Oh, yeah.
Are we gonna be okay?
Girl, we're gonna be all right.
Okay.
No.
And some of the questions we can't avoid. We're gonna get into it. We're gonna get deep. It's, we're gonna having fun here, and we want to hear from you directly. I want to know what you think about the topics, the episode. Tell us everything. We want to hear real-time feedback so we can respond to your comments at the end of the episode.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. All right. Well, let's get straight into it. My girl San Juan. There she is. She came extra prepared. San Juan is a native to East LA. She's a doll maker, designer of San Juan Factory. She has painted, you guys, literally all over the city of Los Angeles, Chicago, San Francisco, Guatemala, Puerto Rico, Kentucky. She just loves making prints, garments, and just loves doing what she does
I love
best,
this.
which is art.
Hi, San
Yes,
Juan. Thank
I
you
love
for
it.
being here,
Thank
baby.
you for being here,
The
girl.
doll maker of LA.
The doll maker. I mean, you drive around even, I remember I used to live in East LA and you see you. And I remember I'd always like look at him and be like, dang, that's Sam. It's so distinguishable. Your art is just different. You could just tell what it is right
The
away.
eyes with the long eyelashes are staring at you as you drive through the city of LA.
It's so
When did you
true.
start? Like, what was your inspiration to start these dolls?
I started when I was 9 years old drawing, and then at 15 I was like, I need to be a brand like Betsy Johnson.
Yeah.
Oh, I
like
get a lot of
Carolina
Betsy.
Herrera. Like, I need to
Yeah.
be a brand. Why not? Why can't this little Mexican girl that works in a lunch truck with her mom have a brand? So I started doing, first it was like a t-shirt with just an outline, because it's really expensive to do this.
I was gonna say, yeah,
This
like
is-
really
look,
finding
this is a
quality.
brand. Look at the logo.
The whole thing. You're designing from like the bottom up. We're all like touching you.
Yeah. The zipper, everything.
Where do the
custom.
girls come from? Where is that inspiration from?
The dolls. I'm a woman, so I can draw women. I understand how a woman looks when she goes like this. I can't draw men. Men are right there.
So you make, so wait, I'm learning up. So are the men the teddy bear and the women the doll, the actual figures?
Yeah, so the main character to me, what I honor is women. And man, how many times have we gone crazy over a man?
Girl, all the time.
Where you
We're
can't even
done.
function because you're
Yeah.
just so on edge. So my men are these little guys right here.
So
What
is
is
it like
this?
a
What
voodoo
is
doll? Because I want one of those for my
I
ex.
mean, you could probably invoke something
Yeah,
into
I
it.
would like to put my ex into it
Like a
little bit.
Chucky doll, but it's a bear. And that's really how I see men in real life. Like, you're small, you're little, you're insignificant, you're not gonna dominate me, you're not gonna ruin my day, my career, my
But
plans.
is there a world where you do fall in love with a guy and you feel great
Yeah.
things about them?
Like,
and
do
the
you
doll
see-
turns
I-
into
that's
like,
what because here's the
like,
thing.
are you so against it? Or is there
See-
a world where you could fall in
That's a
love?
good question because Sand, you post so much content about get your money, you don't need a man. Like I see all the videos,
Yeah.
trust me, and people love it. They love the encouragement. I want to know, is there a world where you feel like you'd want that life one day? I've always wanted to ask you, or do you always feel like you're gonna be just this independent girl?
So a while back, I was engaged.
Oh my God.
Nobody knows that. I feel
But I
like.
walked away from it, and now I'm like, oh my God, I can't regret it. But then I opened myself to love, and 4 months ago, I went through a breakup, and I was like, oh my God, player down.
Yeah,
Player
yeah.
down. Voodoo, voodoo, voodoo. Wait, so how does the
Poor guy.
I want to know. We talked a lot about like sometimes when we are in that phase in relationships, we kind of like lose the brain cells.
yourself.
I've lost my brain cells for 3 years. I'm just now getting them back.
Ooh.
Yeah, like literally,
She
this
got a
you're
couple.
watching me. You said what? Yeah, I got a few back. They're all coming
Did
slowly.
you gain weight too?
Girl, let's
I
not
just
talk
lost
about
15
that.
pounds. 15
No,
pounds after this breakup.
Yeah, the breakup. I always say you know that it was real love if you lose the most weight. But I've gained a lot of weight with my ex. But I want to know, like, sometimes like I know my creative process was severely impacted by the breakup because I just couldn't get up. I was sad. I was crying. So like, what's your process like when you're going? Like, do you stop
Did it ignite something
manufacturing?
in you?
My creative process was screwed during the relationship. Once I came back like Carol G. I was like, okay.
Oh, you on your revenge tour?
I know exactly what I mean, but
Mi
coming
ex
back
me
like Carol G.
decía.
Yeah.
Isn't
I
that
was like-
wonderful? That's why I know Carol G is gonna have a great career because she speaks to all of us that have been down.
I feel like you have to go through a breakup or through something chaotic to have inspiration to come up with something dope.
100%.
Yeah.
Like when you're in love, you're not thinking about it. You're just cuddly, laying there, you know, planchando.
Is that what we're calling it now? I like that. I like that better than
Torteando.
kissing in the bed. Planchando.
No, I think she actually means.
Oh, you mean doing his shit?
No, girl.
No, she means planchando. Okay.
Planchando.
I thought you meant you were doing like wifey things.
That too, that too.
Yeah, wifey things for
Put
sure.
my guard down, but I'm back now, and now I have so many more ideas because my creative process was screwed. But I think the best, like Shakira, she came back stronger
came back
after that,
hard.
and now look at her, she's making hits.
So do you? I feel like you reference a lot of Latina women. Do you feel like that's really important in the doll creation process in your business?
Yeah, because I
Being
feel like we're
Latina?
very strong, and then we're very vicious, like,
All right, so I think this gets us into a very calladito, no more conversation about culture and our relationship to it. I know that we all have a few things to say, so let's get into some questions we cannot avoid when talking about culture. It's all real talk in the next segment, Calladitas No More.
can I hide behind a man?
So I'm gonna pull the first card just because I wanna be messy and get our guests comfortable. And feel free, I want you to be super vulnerable and open.
Okay.
Do
I'm
you
ready.
feel like your culture supported you growing up?
I feel like my culture inspired me, to draw and to paint and to be motivated from the murals that I was seeing. But supported me like in my career? No, because everybody around me was like, don't forget where you come from. Exactly, I know where I come from. I don't want to be here trapped. I'm trying to leave. I'll never forget my beginnings, but I don't want to be stuck in my beginnings forever. This is not the choice that I want to make. So my culture usually reminds me like, oh, you're too expensive. You shouldn't be selling your doll for this much. So what should I sell it for, $5? Like I create this. So when it comes to my career, I feel like my culture kind of tries to bring me down, but I'm like, no. And then the other side of my culture that honors art, they're like, Sam,
They understand the value.
give me this bear for, I don't know, $80.
Yeah. What's your name?
His name is Teddy P. P for player, P for pimp.
Okay.
Like it says no sleep.
We
all
gotta give him a red
hustle.
flag on the other arm. 'Cause he has an ace of spades, but he needs a red
I feel
flag.
like for my culture, being Colombian, I didn't grow up with any Colombians my whole life, so I had nothing to support me. But being at home with my mom and dad, who are very Colombian, it inspired me to be who I am. Like, be passionate, be driven, be out there, be, speak my truth and stuff. But I don't think I had a lot of support from my culture because they were never around.
What about the larger, because I think sometimes we get like really into the nitty gritty of the segments of the culture, but what about the larger Latino culture? Like and just in general, do you feel like?
I didn't have Latinos surrounding me growing up at all.
Same.
Except for my grandma, my mom, my dad. So it's just like, I never had that. It was a very Caucasian American driven life.
It was like code switch. It was like you were one thing.
It was
at
the
home,
opposite.
you
I had
were
to like,
something else.
I assimilated to that culture without, bringing my full potential sometimes because it was so different.
Wow.
I did
What
grow up
about
in.
you,
I do grow up
Summer?
in East LA. I grew up in East LA.
Okay.
So
I was like,
it
you
was.
got Latinos around you?
Yeah,
Okay.
everywhere. My
Everywhere.
neighbor, my mother didn't even speak full English because you don't need to in East LA. Hola, ¿cómo estás? Buenos días, buenas tardes, ¿qué ocupas? Nobody speaks English in East LA, Only like us, the second generation. But growing up culturally, yes, I had Mexicans everywhere. Where did you grow up?
West LA.
Yeah.
Oh, so there's a west and the east. It's giving the Great Gatsby.
The Great Gatsby.
Me, I feel like I want to say today where I am, my culture stands behind me. Like the Dominican, especially because I feel like I'm doing something that's never been done. When I grew up, like growing up, I didn't know that stand-up was a possibility for me. I didn't have any, like we had like very like specific comedians, but I never saw like a Dominican stand-up. So I'm really like one of the first. So I feel like my culture is super excited behind that. But growing up, I don't feel like, I didn't feel like I was always accepted by Latinas. Like I feel like, you know, a lot of my friends are black. I'm in a black sorority. I feel like Latina women were kind of mean to me growing up. So I was like, fuck y'all bitches. And this is, I know, I'm just being honest.
No, I get you.
I just feel like sometimes, like, no shade, I'm gonna say something. Sometimes Latinas can have mean girl energy. I don't, have you ever felt that?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, like it's just kind of like, oh, you can't sit with us. I'm like, bitch, you fucked with my friend. And it really broke my heart. So I was like, I don't want anything to do with this. So I kind of like, I didn't really start tapping into my Latinidad until like recently, like when I started comedy, because it was more of an exploration. Comedy is an exploration of my identity, and I can't explore my identity if I don't go back to my roots. So lately, I'm like, you know what, like, how can I found like, what's the best way for me to live in this space without resentment? So I just went back and I've forgiven a lot of people. Like, you know, people grow. So I've forgiven a lot of people for like what they did to me. But right now, today where I stand, I'm so proud to be a Dominican comedian and the way the culture rallies behind me. And Latinas, I feel like, you know, it was the first time I did Latina Comedy Festival, and it felt really good to be like, wow, like I feel like we're my sisters. And I think Ivana and Jessica are a big part of that too, where I'm like, you know, they make me feel accepted. Sometimes you just need people to hang out with.
Yeah.
So it's a two-way street, yeah.
Okay, let me ask question number 2. Have you ever felt embarrassed by your culture?
Oh, I'm honestly, I be having like a catch, like it's a double-edged sword. Like I know in the Heights, there are a lot of noise complaints about, you know, the music. I get that. But like that's just our culture. Like don't move to the Heights if you don't like loud music. So I guess sometimes like when those conversations come up in the news, I guess I get a little bit like are we supposed to be a little bit submissive because new people are moving into our spaces? Or can we, that's our culture, that's just
Dominicans are.
Yeah, I mean, bitch, I'm a loud bitch.
In the best way.
Yeah, I'm a loud bitch, I don't give a shit. But I just feel like that is a little embarrassing, and I know that when growing up, my grandfather used to sell frios. I know everyone has different.
That?
It's like I know the Puerto Ricans have a different name for it, but I don't.
Raspado?
Yeah, I guess that, like, you know, you make the juices with the ice.
Okay.
And you put it in the.
Yeah.
I should.
Raspado.
Yeah, let's put a picture. But I used to be embarrassed because my grandfather would sell them like in the hood, and I would go with them. I'm like, oh my God, people are gonna know we're selling
My
frios.
mom worked in the lunch
Right,
truck.
right.
We were taco ladies, and I'll be like,
I did want to ask about that too.
But then you go.
I feel you.
Yeah, you go back and you're like, yo, like my parents, my
They were
grandparents
hustling.
are boss people, and they're hustling.
estaban
Sorry.
sobreviviendo.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, like, similar, your mom was working in
the lunch truck.
In a lunch truck, and you were working
Yeah.
there. At the time, was that something that you were like really
Kind of like
supportive
embarrassed.
of?
I would have to go, like all of my childhood, I remember my childhood working in a lunch truck. Like if it was summer, it was either me in Mexico City with my family during the summer or working inside of a lunch truck every day, Monday through Saturday. So I would cut the vegetables, the onions, the lettuce,
closing your eyes from trauma.
during vacation.
Vacation.
Vacation time was like for me either to work or go to Mexico City. So all my childhood, that's why I have good work ethics. Work ethics.
always work.
Because we grew up with me working with my mom, making tacos, hamburguesas, burritos, breakfast burritos, breakfast sandwiches, enchiladas, chilaquiles. Con todo. Cebolla, cilantro, red hot or red or green sauce. I'm traumatized.
Yo, she said I'm traumatized.
Oh, you smelling like
And
onions?
it was like a secret, but now I can be like, yeah, I grew up in a taco truck before. I would be like,
That's what I was gonna
Yeah,
ask. Like,
yeah.
did you feel a little bit
shit,
embarrassed at that moment?
now we're in a time where being Mexican is dope.
Yeah, it is.
Like
but
we,
growing up, it wasn't.
yeah, I feel
right?
like how you grew up, we are creating that world where we're like, hey, I'm here, honor me, because our generation is doing that. We're not shaming from it.
For Colombians, like growing up, I was embarrassed that the only thing that we were known for at the time was like drugs. And it was so, and all my friends, I'd be like, I'm Colombian. They're like, oh, you know, there was not one person that did not say the C word. And I was like, there
Is the C
is
word-
so much more to our culture than that,
Right.
that I'm embarrassed that you are thinking that. That's the truth.
Yeah.
But now that we're getting older, it's changed a lot, luckily, with music and what. Did you feel that way? Because you're Colombian too.
Yeah, I mean, I grew up also like in an area where there wasn't diversity at all, and I was like,
Exactly.
I mean, we had already talked about in another episode, but I was like super bullied. So there was a point
area?
where in the South Bay, like
Oh,
San Pedro, PB area,
okay.
and going to school up there was really hard for me. I had to like go to school, act something completely different. Remember, there was like no social media at that time, so I couldn't walk up the street and see people like me. I was really in my own little bubble, so I remember, girls would say such mean things about the culture and say you look like a maid, gardeners are annoying, things like that. So I felt a sense of, shame in a sense until I went to high school and I started meeting so many more people that looked like me, came from a similar background, and it felt like I could let my guard down, I could breathe, and I could be like, no, I love my culture. Everybody has, depending on how you were raised and the kind of people around you, it really seriously shapes how you see yourself, how you see your culture, how you see, where you come from.
But I also think like you also have an opportunity to always learn about your culture. Like I think some people aren't like born with their culture around them, but like I think there's always a chance to. I just want to put that out there because I'm starting to do the work of like, okay, let me go do the history homework and all that stuff. Yeah. Baby.
All right, guys, card number 3. So the next question is, how much do you really know about your culture? Is anyone trying to revoke your culture card? Before we get into that, we're gonna go into a quick break, but we're gonna be right back.
This is so cute. So this is Little Stoney. Little Stoney bought me a Bentley, let me tell you that much. When she dropped in 2017, I was like,
no, she carried us. Girl, okay, sorry, restart. We're back with Girl, Let Me Tell You, and it's getting real with these Calladitas, no more questions. Jessica, where do we leave off?
Okay, so we're talking about your culture card, if anybody has tried to revoke it or make you feel bad because you said something or did something. I'm sure that's happened to you. I know you're kind of telling us a little bit off camera.
Okay, let me.
Oh my God.
I'll take that.
I'm sorry, Jacket, but I gotta do this. I went to Mexico City. I was there for 2 months. I went through a breakup in July, and I was like crying in my bed or just cry in Mexico City and learn to dance cumbia.
Yes.
So while I'm out there, a lot of Mexican people like in my area that I grew up with my grandma, they're like, ¿Cómo tú hablas español bien? How do you speak Spanish so well? You're not Mexican, you're from over there. I'm like, oh, no, I'm Mexican. And they're like, but you're not Mexican, you're from over there, you're a pocha. I'm like, okay. In America, in the US, I'm a Mexican and I'm proud to be Mexican. And I really love that I dominate Spanish and that I speak Spanish to perfection. Me gusta hablar el español y me gusta ser mexicana. Allá en los Estados Unidos yo soy mexicana. And they're like, you're a pocha. And I'm like, oh, we're gonna fight. Let's cumbia battle.
Do all of our communities have a word for like, I guess, first generation Latino? Because mine is gringa. So when I go back to DR,
gringa.
Is your gringa? Okay, that's maybe like because we're in the same region. So it's pocha and gringas. Whenever I go back to DR, they be like, oh, it sounds like you learn Spanish or like in the United States. I'm like, and I'll be trying, like sometimes when I go back home, I'm like, this is the season, I'm gonna be so Dominican. And they can still tell that I'm American. I'm like, you know what, fuck this shit, I'm over it. I'm doing the best I can to show up in the world, you know? But I think a lot of us have that experience of like the Spanish. Well, my Spanish is bad, but I know. Don't
get it.
Don't
I'm not revoking my card. I'm not revoking.
I know. We're probably not. You're probably the best Spanish speaker.
Mira.
I don't know. No, yo puedo hablar español, es que me da vergüenza because my family, right, bitch?
No,
es que me da vergüenza because mi familia siempre they make fun of my Spanish.
No, es el problema. They want to revoke you. They want to revoke you by making fun of you and laughing at you. Tú háblalo.
Every time, like, I get into big arguments with my family because every time I go visit, they'll be like, habla español. I'm like, you know what, bitch? Everybody, fuck you. I be out the house. I don't give, because I'm trying and I hate when people try to correct me.
They were laughing at me when I was dancing cumbia and I was like, look, esto es serio para mí, no se rían. Esto no es un chiste. And they're like,
Colombians like admire the gringas. They're like, oh, eres gringa? ¿De dónde eres? Oh, and they start to speak English, and then my parents get mad because you go over there and you speak English. I'm not learning Spanish, so it's like a whole different reverse thing.
They want your green card.
They're so happy to have a gringa there to like learn the culture.
I wonder what it is about. Do you feel like in Mexico it's not that type of relationship with people del norte?
People
you know
like
what I mean?
admiring that I'm like, from the US.
They don't want to admire it. They want to shame it, you know? So here's what I did to everybody that I was around. I'm like, hey, if you want to go, I could do you an invitation letter if you ever want to come to LA. And they were like, yeah. I'm like, I get it. Like, I just grew up out there. I get it. You know, I'm in America. I get it. We got Nikes to throw up in the air all day, you know? Over there, they're like, you know, saving for Nikes, you know? So I get it, but I feel like it's like an angry thing. Like, you're a Mexican.
A
little resentment because that's the dream.
Everybody tries to gatekeep a little bit on every level. Like, even if, I think everybody tries to gatekeep the culture a little bit because I think there's a little bit of a pride, but also like protection. So I think everybody does it.
All right, you want to pick that last card for us?
We do.
All right, let's go.
I'm done.
We, girlfriend, we. Have you ever excluded outsiders from your culture? Have you ever included them? How?
Oh my God, I've never excluded.
No.
I don't get this whole, for me, I just don't get the gatekeeping thing. I'm like, if I have friends that are maybe white, Asian, whatever, oh my God, come to a family party. I just don't see the issue. I feel like so happy. I'm like, get ready. It's gonna be a culture shock. It's gonna be crazy. Like, it's gonna be fun.
I have included every single one of my friends into my family parties, into Colombian breakfast, into eating chocolate con queso. They're like, cheese in your chocolate? Are you crazy?
So
and then the next week, they're like, can we get some chocolate con queso? Like, New Year's parties, Christmas parties, praying before Christmas. Every little tradition that I've done that makes me so happy, all my friends that are like Caucasian American, like, are obsessed with.
What about you?
Okay, I'll be honest. When I was in Mexico City, I went to the really bougie areas.
Like Polanco,
And
Roma
the
Norte
area
really
is
nice.
changing. The Mexicans are being pushed out. The little taco stands are being pushed out for yoga places, for bougie restaurants, Polanco, Condesa. So I felt the little void that's starting to enter. There was a lot of signage in English, and I'm like, ooh.
Really?
And I was like,
business area of Mexico,
Yeah.
like the business, like tall skyscraper. It's very high
I think
tech.
that's
Like
the
the
issue that I have with
gentrification.
like, I mean, like for example, I'm producing an entire Dominican comedy show, and I also do a lot. I do a lot for the comedy community. I include everybody, but sometimes you don't want to have to like. I know sometimes I would bring people to like a party, and I feel like I have to babysit. Like I'm like, hey, like I have to explain every
them feel
part.
comfortable,
Yeah,
like,
like
this
hey,
is
my grandma's loud because this is how they play bingo. Don't call the cops. And it's just kind of like sometimes you don't want to explain your culture to people. I don't know if that makes any sense.
I get you.
Yeah, like I think our generation, are you first generation?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think first
primera.
generation has the privilege of saying, hey, I feel a little bit more safe in these spaces because we have assimilated. But I guess our family members, they're the first ones to kind of, I feel like they're the gatekeepers. And we're like, yeah, let everybody in. But then when you let everyone in, things like what's happening at Polanco.
Mexico City, yeah.
kinda
I was
like-
literally like, I went for a latte and I paid like $7.
Not a
for
latte,
it.
but that was your own
like
fault.
$7 for it. When that latte in Mexico City should be like $3, and I was like,
But that could also be inflation.
girl, no, gentrification.
But I will say, like, if I'm in a
the gen-
Colombian party and the people that someone from a different culture comes in, like, my aunts and uncles, they switch up too. They're not as comfortable.
That's what I'm
'Cause they can't
saying.
like be
Everybody-
themselves because they're all
yeah.
caring about what people think sometimes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It like switches it up when you're all by yourself and when you're with a different culture.
I had
so
a
really be yourself and open.
Caucasian boyfriend, and I took him to Mexico City, and we were like dancing, and he was just like, I'm like, you need to get up.
Okay, that's what I'm. That's what I also wanted
Move.
to say is I
Yeah,
love
that's-
bringing people into my culture and even dating outside my culture. But you have to choose, I think, and be very aware of who you're bringing in.
And
if
they
it's going
have
to
to
be
be
somebody
down.
judgmental,
They
have to be down.
like down to like throw yourself out
Yeah.
there. Somebody that's down to like just be involved, and you don't feel like you're babysitting or
Yeah,
like
I
you're
don't wanna
tiptoeing
be-
around somebody. You want. I'm aware of that too. Like I have certain friends where I'm like, this girl, she's gonna do fine in this environment.
Party
You just
pooper.
kind of know,
Yeah.
or this girl's gonna be
Downer.
like awkward and feel like weird or out of
Yes,
place.
yes.
So I don't know. It just depends on who you bring around, honestly.
I think we agree. Like there's a fine line between like just integrating
Appreciate
everybody being involved, and I don't know what I'm saying. Ivana, you close it out. Sorry.
No, we want to know what's next for you and what you got going on because I know that you can't stay in one place too long.
I know.
We
if
actually
I
just
stay,
got a
I start.
comment. So at Chelas Mundial said, I heard Sand is releasing some wine soon.
We love wine.
I think we've been a little on edge.
Yeah, I think we all
I
have.
love. You are so funny.
Okay, so
You got the. Is it like a breakup package? Voodoo
This
doll
is-
wine.
This is so cute.
I want to get like I want to try this wine though, for real.
Okay, here's where we're going next. So this is Little Stony.
Little Stony.
She's
I remember
my-
when you released Little Stony. This was a while ago,
Little
wasn't
Stony
it?
bought me a Bentley, let me tell you
Oh,
that
wow.
much. When
Girl,
she
what?
dropped
Yeah.
in 2017, I was like,
I remember Little Stony
bought
like
you
it
a
was
Bentley?
yesterday.
yeah, the Stoner doll
Yeah.
took care of me.
No, she carries
So
us.
I always honor
so
her.
cute. She kind of looks like you.
Yeah, and you
No,
too.
100%.
I
So,
think-
Lil Stony Rose,
Lil-
can you tell us how this came about, please?
So, I'm doing a collaboration with a big winery, a big company, and I was like, I do like drinking champagne, sparkling wine, and they were like, hey, do you want to work on doing your own brand? And I was like, oh, like Jenny? And I was like, yes. So I went to Lodi, California, and I sat there and just tasted a bunch of wines, a bunch of different things. I got really,
really
messed
got over
up.
that breakup.
I was bumping sad music, tasting wines, and I decided to go with this. So it's a Garnache grape, It's made in California, and it's a sparkling wine, and this one is a rosé. It's not bitter. It's not like dry. It's really sweet and bubbly and smooth.
And when does this drop?
This is gonna drop in liquor stores. It's gonna drop.
Wait, okay, I was gonna ask, is it liquor stores? Like,
Yeah.
is it actually, I can go to like any
is
Bevmo
so
or something like that?
big.
We're working on getting it. Yeah, this is big.
We're so inspired
We're getting a
right
second
now.
Bentley as a team.
Yeah.
Congratulations on this.
Wait, honestly, yeah, this is really
It's a huge
badass.
deal.
They can go into any store now. So right now we're working on doing the distribution. So they could be like, I don't know, like at big liquor stores in the hood.
is
They gotta be in the
cute.
hood for all my hood
down.
chicks.
East
Yeah.
LA, I'm gonna be there. I think this is a great segue. I think it's time for us to have a drink.
Let's do
I'm a
it.
little,
about to?
I'm a little, what's that thing when you
Sand, shout out those socials.
Oh, Sand Warner, SANDONER, Sand Warner.
San Juan.
San Juaner.
Sand Warner on all my socials. Let's pop this bottle because it's
can't
getting
wait.
hot in here.
I'm scared to
Girl,
pop this
all these
bottle.
years I've known you, we have never popped a bottle. We've never had a drink together. So
We're popping my bottle today.
Get those cups down.
I thank you.
Because I think we deserve it.
I think
I
so.
love it.
Oh
It
my
definitely
gosh.
is. Whoa, sorry. Where did the cord
Wait, it did. It actually like popped.
Oh
like,
my
up.
God.
I don't know if I've ever done
Thank
that.
God. Did we get that on camera? Oh my God. Well, San Juan, thank you for letting us be your first
girl.
taste testers.
Thank you.
We got a
Thank
$50
you.
wine bottle here, girls'
you.
night. It's gonna be, it's approved by all of, well, we gotta taste it first.
Yeah,
But I think we'll prove it.
Glasses?
Yeah, we're getting glasses. Coming up, we're gonna have a drink and just so much more conversation. I'm so excited. Don't go nowhere.
How do you get your white boyfriend to try cultural foods?
If he's not trying your cultural food, he shouldn't be your man. Like, that's part of the relationship. So
If
just,
he's kissing you, he's already trying cultural food.
Yeah.
You feel me?
What's up, everybody? We're here, still sipping on San Juan sparkling wine.
It's really good.
It's so good.
You guys, when it drops, get a box.
We're gonna do the agua frescas a later time, and maybe I'll
All
have
right,
that the
but-
first time. Yeah.
Let's track our growth.
Okay.
I have cutouts of these beautiful, of their beautiful faces.
Wow.
Look at this, homemade, and we're gonna answer some questions and vote, okay?
Okay.
You guys, just be honest, be yourselves, you know, like I'm not gonna be offended.
You're not gonna be offended? Okay.
Okay, who learned the most from this conversation?
Who do I think learned the most? Probably maybe me.
Honestly.
Oh my God, me too. That's what I think.
I feel like maybe
Yeah, I was gonna put you.
I think I.
Yeah.
Who?
me. Who? Me?
I'm putting Jessica.
Okay, yeah, I think actually you're right. I think Jessica learned the most.
That's right. Growth,
I
everybody.
think Jessica.
But what what did you learn in particular?
I learned about. I don't even know what I learned. I think I'm just having conversation. Honestly, I'm trying to think about things that I took away. I think people's different perspectives. I learned about your perspective.
thank
I think like that's like the biggest thing because I can live in my existence over here, my bubble over here, but truthfully, I don't know what you go through on a day-to-day basis.
I think that you were really strong about like the culture. I mean, I learned a lot from you.
Okay.
Personally,
So put
yeah.
is that what you put
And
on
about
Facebook?
Dominicans and
Yeah,
they laughed
and-
during bingo. I didn't know
that.
that.
Thank
Okay,
you.
number 2, who was the MVP of the
Oh, I
conversation?
know. I would put San Juan. Yeah.
I
it's
go
just
San.
fun.
100%
Okay,
Sam. I don't
she's a
have her,
girl,
but
grew up
Sam.
in East LA, has her own wine company.
That's insane.
She literally has made something out of art. How hard is it to get people to actually care about your art, care about what you do? It's hard to
Yeah.
do. And it's so solidified in
And
LA culture, so
She's so
damn, girl.
unapologetically herself that it's so beautiful to see
It's
because
so raw.
nobody could touch her. And her first doll got her a Bentley, and she's getting.
gonna start making
she's
dolls.
breaking barriers
Yeah, she's
that like
breaking
Latinos.
barriers.
Yeah.
You know,
I like
don't do normally.
relating to her story about working with her mom because I feel like that was really dope.
Yeah,
like
that was beautiful.
And then her mom is in the studio today. I think it's so dope to see that like full circle moment of like, yo, we was hustling together and now I'm here.
Yeah.
So I really enjoyed that.
Okay.
Me and Yvonne are gonna break away, and me and Yvonne are gonna be sipping on this wine and answering community questions in the
That's
patio.
right.
All right, let's see what's going down in the hot takes, baby.
I heard that the people had a lot to say in the comments.
What's going on?
So our audience wants to know, this is the hot question. How do you get your white boyfriend to try cultural foods?
If he's not trying your cultural food, he shouldn't be your man. Like that's part of the relationship. So
If
just
he's kissing you, he's already trying cultural food. You feel me?
Yeah, just cook for him, feed it. I think it's fine. Yeah, I like your answer better.
I don't think it's that hard to.
I've made food for my white ex, meatloaf.
And what do you guys think about interracial dating?
I think interracial dating is beautiful. I think as long as you respect each other's boundaries and really go in with an open mind. Any relationship is about having an open mind. Fuck the world. Date whoever you want to date, even if that's you, Bad Bunny, who asked that question.
Agreed. Well, Today was fun, you guys.
I
had a blast.
I had a great time.
This is, the episode of Me Too TV. I'm Yvonne Rojas.
I'm Glorelis Mora.
I'm Jessica, and this is
Girl, Let Me Tell You.